News at 4, the Department of Defense announced today the death of 3 Army Reserve soldiers supporting Operation Inherent Resolve, were all from Georgia.
That's what they're calling this shit?
Sergeant William Jerome Rivers was from
Okay. First things first. If you are black, stay the fuck out of the United States military. Like, why the I don't get it, y'all. Actually, I do. Okay? I understand the temptation. I understand why these sisters and his brother joined the white man's army. Because they wanted to get out of the hood, right? They wanted to get out of the hood. They wanted to get away from the crime, the fucking pigs, all this bullshit. So they decided they wanted to become global pigs. They wanted to become the world's police. That's what they wanted to become. They wanted to roll with the fucking big boys. And now all 3 of them are dead in a conflict that has nothing whatsoever to do with the well-being of our people. If you are black in the United States, okay, you are an American, but you're also not an American, okay? You are, as Malcolm would say, one of the 44 million black people that are victims of America. What does that mean? They brought us here as slaves, okay? We have never had any full rights in this country. If you have full rights in the country, if you're a full citizen of a place, there doesn't have to be a movement that asserts that your life matters, because your life already matters by virtue of being a citizen of that country, right? So if you are black, your fight is here, not in Jordan, not in Yemen, not in Ukraine, not in any of these places that they're trying to send us to, okay? Who are your friends? The Palestinian people, who've literally painted George Floyd's mural on the apartheid wall that the Zionist settlers built. The Yemeni people. Hamas and the Houthis ain't never called you the N-word. Hamas and the Houthis are not in my fucking Twitter mentions calling me the N-word and posting fucking cartoons of black men that have been hanged. That's white people doing that shit. Those are our enemies. But like I said, I get it. But there's shit. I'd much prefer you stay in this country and fucking hustle. Fucking hustle. Than join and fucking try to hustle off the people of the world. Later for that shit. If you are black, do not join the United States military, because this is going to be what's happening. But this is going to be your fate. This is what's going to happen to you. Talk to any brother, any elder that was in Vietnam. They always put us out in front. They always give us the most dangerous, shitty ass jobs to do. Not Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali. 2 entirely different black boxers of entirely different generations. But yes, there was a Muhammad Ali quote.
I am the greatest.
Muhammad Ali, the heavyweight champion of the world, was banned from boxing in the United States after he refused as a conscientious objector to serve in the army.
So back then they had a draft. Now they don't. Like back then they would literally take you and put you in the army. So if this man had the fortitude to like refuse to go when you could literally go to jail, for not going, there's no excuse for you. You volunteer, you sign up for this shit. Whatever happens to you is what you deserve, because you didn't have to be over there. You signed up and you volunteered for this shit. Why? Because you want a fucking charger? You want a fucking charger and you want a free fucking college? You want to go to college for free. You want a charger and you want to get your family a house. I get it, okay? I am not opposed to black people having nice things. I am opposed to black people having nice things off the blood of people who are helping us topple this empire. That should be your number 1 priority. Stop thinking like a white person. Stop trying to be like these fucking white people, man. They're going to get their comeuppance. They're going to suffer. And you, fool that you are, seem dedicated to suffer alongside them. Why the fuck would you join? Why the fuck would you join the white man's army?
Boxing is nothing like going to war with machine guns, bazookas, hand grenades, bomber airplanes. My intention is to box to win a clean fight. But in war, The intention is to kill, 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 and continue killing innocent people.
This man has more fucking fortitude. This man has more fucking leadership capacity. This man displayed more moral clarity and leadership than AOC, who is widely paraded and masquerades as a socialist. But yeah, stay the fuck out of the United States military. People are mad at me on Twitter for suggesting that they read Settlers. People have even called me, I've been called Mussolini and Mustache Man, the German Kraut Mustache Man. I don't know if I say his name on Twitch if I'll get banned, but I'm not going to chance it. But you recently started reading Ho Chi Minh's biography. Really good. Awesome. So, like, I don't know. Here's the thing. Like, I understand why white people don't want to read Settlers. Nobody wants to read anything that denigrates their people or makes their people feel as if they don't have a place in the revolution. But that is not what Settlers does. That's not what Sakai does. Sakai literally closes the book by saying that every nation and people has its own contribution to make to the world revolution. This is true for all of us and obviously for Euro-Americans as well. But this is another discussion, one that can only really take place in the context of breaking up the U.S. empire and then in the U.S. oppressor nation. And the funny thing is, like, these white leftists, they are so insistent that we read people like Hegel, who literally said that Africans are barbarians that stand outside of history. What do you mean? What do I think about Marianne Williamson? I think she's a fucking nut. Anyways, they suggest we read Hegel. They suggest we read Marx, who literally called people the N-word. And yes, you should read Marx. They suggest that we read Engels, who literally referred to Mexicans as being perezosos, lazy. But we asked them to read Settlers to teach them a bit about their own history and how they fucked our peoples over. And it's suddenly a big fucking deal. The replies to this were hilarious. I literally said, I was trying to channel Ali here. Ain't no Houthi or Hamas ever called me a racial slur. My enemies are at home. And let's see, what do our friends have to say? Oh, here's Yahya Sinwar, one of the leaders of Hamas, talking about George Floyd and racism against African Americans and comparing it to the treatment of Palestinians.
أنا أغتنم هذه الفرصة وإحنا بنعيش ذكرى القتل المجرم العنصري لجورج فلويد.
So you literally have the guy that we're being told is our number one enemy, like calling out, like how many times has Benjamin Netanyahu mentioned George Floyd? How many times has Zelensky mentioned George Floyd? So these people are supposed to be big bad number one all over the world. And he starts an interview. Well, in this interview that he's giving to Vice, he literally says the name of a victim of American police brutality. So already I like this guy. Already I am with him against the people who would like to destroy his people.
جورج فلويد قتل في مثل هذه الأيام نتيجة منهجية عنصرية موجودة لدى أشخاص. اليوم هذه العنصرية التي قتل بها جورج فلويد يمارسها الاحتلال ضدنا وضد أهلنا، ضد أهلنا في القدس، ضد أهلنا في الشيخ جراح، ضد أهلنا في الضفة الغربية بحرق أطفالنا، وضد أهل قطاع غزة من خلال الحصار والقتل والتجويع. إحنا يجب أن يضع العالم الحر وشباب العالم الحر كله حداً لهذه الجرائم. أنا أغتنم هذا.
So again, how is Hamas supposed to be my enemy? Al-Dadamarki says that the tweets and comments to this reasonable anti-war tweet are mostly white Anglos projecting their innate racism on the people they've never met or spoken to. True. Okay, so here we go to the bad. Have you ever met a Houthi or Hamas member in the first place? No. We have a Yemeni brother who's saying that we look at people with one equal eye, actions, behaviors, and attitudes that make people behave badly, not their race. Keep in mind that English is probably this guy's third language. When leftists say the N-word is worse than murder, I'm not being hyperbolic. How much time have you spent amongst Hamas and Houthis? The more flags and symbols some people have on their display name, the more... No, actually, they would decapitate you. A Bosnian is saying this? Insult to his people. They would probably have a lot to say about that pride flag, though. Actually, I don't think they would know. You have to keep in mind, like, these people are not in the West. They probably don't even know what the pride flag represents, bro. But yeah, the white man's enemy is not my enemy. Oh, Cori Bush is trending. I wonder why. The Justice Department has conducted a criminal probe into Cori Bush, according to 6 sources familiar. Why? The Justice Department subpoenaed the House Sergeant of Arms for records relating to the misspending of federal security. Why? Oh, I know why. They're punishing her for her firm support for Palestine and her firm support of progressive principles. Like, I keep calling her the left wing of the squad because that's what she is. So this MAGA account or whatever says that Bush has spent more than $750,000 on private security since she was elected in 2020. In 23, Bush got slapped with the Federal Election Commission complaint after it was revealed that her campaign paid her now husband over $60,000 to provide security, even though he didn't have the record. Okay, so what? Who cares?
The donors were paying for it. She was calling for you to lose your police.
Who cares? Like, who cares? Like, this is a black woman congressperson that's progressive. Of course people are going to be on her fucking ass. Of course people are going to be on her fucking ass. They're on her, but the Pentagon routinely loses trillions of dollars every fucking year. But nobody's going to audit that. Let's just pick on the progressive congresswoman, the progressive black congresswoman from Missouri. Let's just fuck with her.
Protection. Now, she was asked on Wednesday how exactly this works. And as you watch this tape, imagine the reaction of the Chinese in Beijing as they watch this.
The Chinese.
Jaws open thinking, this is who runs the United States?
No, this is one of the people who helps to run the United States. They're probably looking at Biden. We're like, oh, come on.
We're in good shape. Ladies and gentlemen,
come on, Israel.
Cori Bush.
You want to see me die? You know, because that could be the alternative. So either I spend $70,000 on private.
So they're basically trying to portray her. Like, there's a lot of tropes that they use in reference to black people, especially women. Like, you've got the sapphire trope, you've got the Jezebel trope, you've got the mammy trope. Like, that basically, what Tucker is doing, he's basically trying to portray her as loudmouth, foul, and corrupt. Like, that's a trope that goes all the way back to since black people have been in this country.
Security.
Oh, yeah. Nancy Pelosi said that we should all go back to China yesterday. But yeah. Of course, I'm going to have to back my girl up. I drank this. It tasted like fucking bleach. It tasted like cleaning products. It was disgusting. How can white people just sit up and drink this shit? I took like 2 sips out of it and threw it away. I was so disgusted. Thankfully, I didn't pay for this trash. I found it. But that's why you don't drink things that you find. That's how you get poisoned. This is hilarious.
ما نقوله دائما أن السخط ازداد جدا وبنسبة كبيرة ضد التواجد الأمريكي وضد التواجد للقوات الأمريكية. نقول للأمريكي إذا كنت اليوم في تكساس لا تقبل بمواطن يمر يحاول أن يستفيد أو أن يعمل لديك فكيف تريد أن تقبل العالم كله منك أن تأتي.
And I need one of those daggers, by the way. Like I'm starting a knife collection. I'm starting a collection of daggers and knives from all over the fucking world. I need that.
بقواتك لتستعمر.
I mean, look at how he's wearing it.
وتقتله.
Like, this is a dude that's ready. You know what? Bring your fucking smoke here. I got this big ass fucking blade here, and I'm gonna fuck you up.
هذا لا يمكن أن يقبل به أحد. الأحداث التي في غزة كشفت الوجه القبيح لأمريكا وأظهرت سوءة أمريكا. وهذا هو نتيجة طبيعية لأن الإنسان أو الرئيس الأمريكي اليوم لم يعد.
This is a natural result because the American president is no longer able to think properly.
قادر على التفكير السليم والتفكير الصحيح.
But that's it. Like, this entire fucking country is a joke. Well, it's been a joke, but Biden has made it even like more of a fucking mummer's farce. Like, how can you allow this Three Stooges motherfucker to run a country? This guy can't even get up a flight of stairs. This guy, every time he gives a speech, his aides are just sitting in the back, wondering, praying that he doesn't flub or he doesn't say some racist shit or he doesn't.
يمارس الإجرام ضد أبناء غزة ويعمل بكل ما في وسعه من أجل استمرار هذه الجريمة وحمايتها، حماية الإبادة التي هي معروفة وأصبحت معروفة حتى لدى محكمة الهاي. لذلك هي تخبط، هي تعيش حالة مأساوية في سياستها. الأمريكا تعيش حالة سيئة جدا، أولا فيما تقوم به سواء من الدعم يعني من معركة مباشرة مع الروس في أوكرانيا، أو ما تقوم به معركة مباشرة معنا، أو ما تقوم بمعركة مباشرة مع الفلسطينيين. اليوم أمريكا هي تتحدى المستضعفين، لم تتحدى.
Is not challenging the strong, it's challenging the weak inside Palestine and inside Gaza.
القوة هي تتحدى المستضعفين في داخل فلسطين في داخل غزة، ونحن أيضا نقف لنتحدى الأمريكيين لأنهم يواجهوا هؤلاء المستضعفين. لا يعني أننا أصبحنا قوة عظمى، لكننا لا يمكن أن نقبل بما نراه اليوم في غزة من وضع إنساني مأساوي معروف بأنها إبادة جماعية لهؤلاء الأبطال داخل غزة. فلذلك تحركنا هو في هذا الاتجاه، اتجاه أن نواجه المستكبرين الذين يواجهون المستضعفين.
In the direction of confronting the arrogant who confront the weak. This is the energy that black people need to be given, okay? This is what we need to serve. We don't need to serve American imperialism. Dying for American imperialism, especially under doddering, sleepy, crooked, genocide Joe Biden, like that's a light as a feather death. That is a light as a feather death, as Ma would say. Dying or serving your people and the people of the entire world, that's heavier than fucking Mount Kilimanjaro. Be heavier than Mount Kilimanjaro. Don't die light as a feather. Stay out of the United States military. Stay out of the United States military. If you ever meet this guy, if you ever meet Hamas, if you ever meet a Houthi, Ansar Allah member, like you want them to hug you, say you want them to welcome you as their brother. You don't want them to fucking shoot you. You don't want to fight these brothers. Like I've seen videos of Yemenis, like half these people literally look just like us. Okay? Like they have a shitload of black ancestry. So we're basically going to be fighting our brothers. Okay, my enemies are not in Iran. My enemies are not in Gaza. My enemies are not in the West Bank. My enemies are in Israel. My enemies are in Washington, D.C. My enemies are in New York City. My enemies are in London. To everybody who keeps like, they always bring up the fact, oh, Arabs enslaved you guys too. Yes. Yes, Arab people did enslave African people. African people enslaved each other. As a matter of fact, every people that have been like civilized for a long time have had some form or other of slavery. But that's not the point. My people were enslaved in the United States by the British, the French, the Dutch, the Spaniards, all of these people. That's who my beef is. Why? Because they have never made amends for that. They still treat us as if we are slaves. That is radically different than what happened in the Middle East. Yeah, Arabs enslaved white people too. White people enslaved Arabs. Like in that part of the world, the old world, the Middle East, Africa, and Europe, like everybody enslaved everybody. Like the Barbary pirates from the from what is now Libya, like they literally sailed to Ireland and Iceland and dragged like 2,000 people on the boats and took them back to North Africa to be sold. Like that was the thing. It was a cruel, barbaric time. Slavery is a cruel, barbaric practice. But I have seen no evidence of there being any slavery in Yemen currently. They're using it as a sort of because they know that when black people unite with the people of the entire world, especially the Arab world, mountains are going to be moved. And the white man has always been about what? Divide and conquer. That's how he fucked us up in Africa. That's how he fucked up the Middle East. That's how he fucked up Asia. Hell, he was divided amongst himself for centuries, for millennia even. And that's why Europe was the biggest killing field in human history. But when we get unity going, as Malcolm taught us, as Huey taught us, as Ho Chi Minh taught us, as Mao taught us, then they're scared. They're scared because they know that their days are coming to an end. All of these capitalists and these fascists that exploit and enslave the entire world. That is what they don't want. So you've got their little buddies on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube or whatever carrying their water, trying to get black people to hate Arabs and vice versa. It's not working anymore. TikTok is a thing. I can go on Twitter and I can literally hear from this guy and from the Palestinian resistance itself their position on my people. And from what I've seen, I dig it. The International Court of Justice should be headquartered in Yemen. Like, this man offers more truth and clarity than any U.S. or European politician, but they call him a terrorist. Biden, Sunak, and the fascist Maloney, however, are lauded as great statespeople. It's a backwards world. We have to turn it around. This is from yesterday. 2 activists are using reinforced pipes to lock themselves to construction equipment at a Brassfield and Gorey worksite at 12th and Juniper in Midtown Atlanta. Brassfield and Gorey is the founder of the Atlanta Police Foundation and is contracted to help build Cop City. This is good. Never forget that the struggle is still happening. They held it down for 3 hours and even more. Slav is actually where the term slave originated from, if I recall correctly. The People's Injunction, stop Cop City.
If we don't get it, shut it down. Shout out to the homies out there in the car.
Yeah, I hope Andre Dickless gets voted out of office. APD had a team attempting to extract one activist from their lockdown. Look at that fucking cop. Like, man, this is some bullshit. This is some bullshit, man. I didn't join the force for this, man. Hold still, little girl, damn. This is some fucking bullshit. Oh, he's a lieutenant, too. They've got a lieutenant and they've got a major behind him. Man, I'm a fucking lieutenant. I'm a white shirt. I gotta do this. Man, fuck y'all. Man, this is some bullshit. I'm up here. Man, I can't breathe. I got asthma. Am I getting overtime for this? Look, I'm sorry. That cannot be me. Couldn't be me. APD just declared this area is now an active crime scene. This was all yesterday, the 29th. And one thing about Atlanta, like, have you all noticed that, like, every cop you see is black? Like, this is supposed to be Chocolate City. This is supposed to be the capital of black people in the United States. Like, it's basically our new Harlem since white folks fucked up Harlem. And, like, this is what's going on. This is an insult. We're supposed to be a revolutionary people. Like, when people from other countries always meet me, like, they always talk about Malcolm X. Like, there's a Colombian dude at the shelter that I work at. Like, he was reading Malcolm X the other day until somebody stole his book. Like, we're seen as being a revolutionary people. Like, people really dig us for that. They love our hip hop. They love our music. They love our clothes. They love the way we talk. Yet we have this class of sellouts, people like Andre Dickless and Kamala Harris and James Clyburn, like, that are ruling us. Like, we cannot let these people rule us. The masses are advanced, but our leadership is backwards. That can't happen. We have to get rid of all these fucking cucks to white people that are making our brothers across the world and their lives miserable. Like, why the fuck would you become? Look at you. Like, what are you doing? What are you accomplishing?
We need you submitted.
So where you stand, you gotta keep going backwards, man.
Look at that. That's the sum total of your life. All power to these brave. Like, it couldn't be me. I couldn't climb all the way on the top of a fucking building and chain myself to something. These people that do this are braver than the Marines. So this is Amir. He took part in activities to cheer up the displaced children in Gaza until Israel bombed his home and killed him. So yeah, he'd go around in these costumes and he would try to make the kids happy. Who's like, these kids have had their whole fucking family murdered, so he's going around and his little silly costumes trying to help people. And Israel killed this guy. Like, what threat does a guy dressing up like a chicken have to you? Look at this. You killed this guy. What threat does a guy dressing up like a chicken have to you? How does he hurt you? Is he bruh? He was injured after their house was bombed, and part of his family was martyred. All appeals to save him by traveling for treatment abroad failed because the Israelis won't let anybody leave. Today, Ahmed is a martyr. Damn this humanity. And this was Nancy Pelosi yesterday. Let's see what she has to say. Let's see what this brilliant stateswoman has to say. So these people have confronted her at her house. This is San Francisco, by the way. She's got the fucking 49er scarf on.
Most of your constituents want stop the genocide, stop the Holocaust.
Democrats want the ceasefire. The Democrats want the ceasefire.
She told them to go back to China, where her headquarters is. San Francisco is the city with, if I recall correctly, the largest population of Chinese Americans in the country. So, didn't her husband get his head caved in with a hammer a few years ago? I think that's over-dramatizing it a bit, but yeah, a guy with the hammer did break into their house. People always talk about the need for multinational unity. Why do people never talk about multinational unity between Black American, Nigerian, Dene, aka Navajo, Hawaiian, Mexican, Filipino, Vietnamese, and other workers? This unity has and can happen without white people being involved. Like, multinational needs to stop meaning white people take over and use us as warm bodies for their marches. White people are a minority of the world population. Like, why in the United States, in the context of the left, why does multinational always mean that white people are allowed to enter in large numbers and run shit? As leftists, as colonized leftists, we have to focus on building unity with each other. Should we have tactical unity with white people around certain things? Yes, but when you try to force a strategic unity that there's no basis for, you end up getting fucked up. Because white people are very, very good at using you, and then you have nothing to show for it. Like back in the day when we would go out on strike, when we would join white strikes, they would get whatever the fuck they wanted, and then they turn around and scab on us. Now, this is a Frizzo response to it, because all of these little white groups, PSL, Frizzo, Freedom Road Socialist Organization, CPUSA, they hate it. And of course, they go back to the only time that the communist movement in the United States has been somewhat useful to black people, the 30s, the fucking 30s. And they talk about their program, shameless, fuck selfless. Shameless self-promotion. They talk about their raggedy-ass program, in particular the section on immediate demands for U.S. colonies. Oh, wow, the white people are going to give us our land. They're going to give us our liberty. So, let's see what they think the most valuable theoretical works on this are. Harry Haywood's 1948 book, Negro Liberation, read it. For a revolutionary position on the Negro question, read it. And his autobiography, Black Bolshevik. A monster, but I've read it. And they also mentioned one of their own cadres, Frank Chapman's outstanding book, published in 2021, Marxist-Leninist Perspectives on Black Liberation and Socialism. I read it. It's mid. But I find it hilarious that, they've never... where is Huey? Where is your Malcolm? Where is, anybody that wasn't tied to a white-dominated party? I love Brother Haywood, okay? I love Brother Haywood. I love any black person that has actually struggled for communism. But why is our validity as revolutionary thinkers and practitioners tied to our usefulness to white people or our membership in white organizations? Yes, I'm in DSA, before y'all bring that up. Speaking of, do you think organizing around a black belt is still possible? New Africa and all thoughts? Yes, there's still a very active, the Republic of New Africa still exists. Okay, there's still a movement for that. And there are still a shitload of black people who live in the South. So all power, free the land. But not everything written on this has been so helpful. Another text that has gained some traction amongst the left is Jay Sakai's 1983 book, Settlers, the Mythology of the White Proletariat. The book is correct to point out that the U.S. is founded on colonialism, slavery, and genocide. Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you for your charitability. But after that, it gets a lot wrong. Unfortunately, Sakai's book is anti-worker and ultra-leftist. That's a favorite insult of right opportunists like frickin' Frizzo. Like, Sakai has been a proletarian all his life. Frizzo's base is basically white college kids that have decided to practice union entryism into the fucking Teamsters. And its errors come from a fundamental misunderstanding of the national question in the U.S. Essentially, the view advocated by Sakai rejects the possibility of forming a strategic alliance with the multinational working class. Because, like, there are many, many working classes in the United States. There is no real, like, multinational working class. And why are you not using the term proletariat? These fucking rightists, man. Oh, of course. Every one of these opportunist fucking groups always has to rip out of context Fred Hampton's speech where he says that we fight racism with solidarity. I can't read this shit. This shit is garbage. When y'all ask why haven't I joined Frizzo, this is why. This is I mean, Swamp Communist is a good dude, but yeah, I understand. He has to defend his fucking garbage party. Leave if you're watching this, Swamper, if you watch it. Leave. Like, the biggest example of class treason recently is Sean Fain's union, the UAW, backing a ceasefire, and then he turned around and he stabbed Palestinians in the back to endorse Biden. He calls Donald Trump a scab, which is an erroneous comparison because Donald Trump has never been working class. And the way I understand the term scab, it's a term for a working class person that betrays his class. Donald Trump is actually working in the interests of his class. So Donald Trump is not a scab. He's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. He's always been the enemy. He was raised in an enemy family, who we have always explicitly been told by the Palestinian people to not support. Like, the Palestinian people have been calling Biden a murderer. If you vote for Biden, you have blood on your hands. This man is an enemy of the Palestinian people, but I see so many accounts with Palestinian flags in their bios being like, oh, we have to support Sean Fain. It's not his job to back Palestine. It's his job to get gains for his workers. And I'm like, bruh, this is why you need to read Settlers. You're doing the exact same shit that white workers have always done. You're scabbing on the global working class to get tiny gains for yourself at home. People are defending him, claiming that his only job is to extract concessions for American workers. This is narrow economism and class collaboration. You're scabbing on the global proletariat. They do these bad things, Sean Fain, Biden, and then you act hurt when we say that you're bought off. This is what bought off people do. Y'all are being bought off with the promises of a friendly National Labor Relations Board. That's a buy-off. What is the most important issue right now? The NLRB or Palestine? It's Palestine. Quit being bought off. This is why people are saying that y'all are fucking useless. Like, quit being the fucking left wing of imperialism. If there is to be any strategic unity between white and colonized workers, it will only be after white workers de-link themselves from settler nationalism and develop proletarian consciousness, not before. Calls for class unity from settlers often conceal a desire for black and brown bodies to get out, walk y'all's picket lines, help y'all accomplish y'all's goals, after which we are discarded. Sakai says, we can see then that the tactical unity of settler and African miners cannot be understood without examining the strategies of both groups. Euro-American labor used that tactical unity to get African workers to carry out the strategy of preserving the settler empire. Some African miners received tactical gains from this unity in the form of higher wages and better working conditions, but in return, African miners disorganized themselves and liquidated. They gave themselves up to the hegemony of settler unionism. Thus disarmed and disorganized, they soon discovered that the result of this tactical unity with white people was to take our jobs and drive us out. There are no tactics without a larger strategy, and in the U.S. empire, that strategy has both a national and a class character. You won't see Frizzo or PSL saying this because it's in their benefit to promote this fucking sublimation of shit that's really important. Sakai thinks that there isn't a white working class in the United States. That's another myth. Sakai says in When Race Burns class, now, there obviously is a white working class in the United States, a large one of many, many millions, from offshore oil derricks to the construction trades to automobile plants. But it is not a proletariat. It is not the most exploited class from which capitalism derives its super profits. Far fucking from it. As a shorthand, I call it the white-atariat. These are not insights unique to settlers by any means. Unfortunately, whenever Western radicals hear words like unions and working class, a rosy glow glazes over their vision, and the Internationale seems to play in the background. Even many anarchists seem to fall into a daze and to magically transport themselves back to seeing the militant socialist workers of Marx and Engels' day. Forgetting that there have been many different kinds of working classes in history. Forgetting that Friedrich Engels himself criticized the English industrial working class of the late 19th century as a bourgeois proletariat, an aristocracy of labor. He pointed out that you could tell the non-proletarian bourgeois strata of the English working class. These were the sectors that were dominated by adult men, not women or children. Engels also wrote that the bourgeois sectors were those that were unionized. Sounds like a raving ultra-leftist, aka a third worldist, doesn't he? This is why I love Sakai. Like, he is an organic intellectual. He's not like, I think a lot of the reason why white people hate this guy, why white leftists hate this guy, is because like he doesn't write like them. This guy never went to college. He's worked in factories his entire life. Breaking, political pressure for Biden to hit Iran is increasing. It's not going to work. Tiberius says it's weird that Israel wanted U.S. to attack Iran weeks ago and now they have their justification. Weird that Israel wanted the UNRWA destroyed weeks ago and now they have their justification. Weird that Israel wanted to ethnically cleanse Gaza. Well, you get the point. But we're not going to attack Iran. Remember to vote blue. So that's Nancy Pelosi calling the FBI on your ass and deporting you to China for protesting. Joe Biden bombing your cousin in Gaza. Alejandro Mayorkas stopping your grandma's asylum in Texas. And Gavin Newsom giving you COVID in the hospital in Haiti. And then somebody with the hashtag ceasefire now. Call Nancy Pelosi. What the fuck would I want to talk? Bruh, I don't want to talk to that old witch. She's not going to do anything. Why the fuck would I call Nancy Pelosi's office like she's going to pick up and be like, look, Mr. Negro, I'm not going to vote for what you want me to do, okay? I'm sorry. Thinking about this a lot. As far as I'm concerned, liberal is the most meaningless word in the dictionary. History has shown me that as long as some white middle-class people can live high off the hog, take vacations to Europe, send their children to private schools, and reap the benefits of their white skin privileges, then they're liberals. But when times get hard and money gets tight, they pull off that liberal mask and you think you're talking to Mustache Man. They feel sorry for the so-called underprivileged just as long as they can maintain their own privileges. Why do I join DSA instead of a pre-party formation? Because pre-party formations suck and don't do shit but ride and ride and ride until they collapse or split. This is heartwarming.
هيدي خريطة شو؟
فلسطين.
مبروك ربحت معنا هي $50 لك.
لا إله إلا الله.
حبيب قلبي يا عم.
حبيبي.
بدي أسألك
اسأل قد ما بدك عن لبنان وعن فلسطين اسأل.
آخر مرة بكيت فيها.
بكيت.
The beginning is heartwarming. I can tell by the music that it's going to get even worse.
لما توفى ابني ومرتي.
الله يرحمه.
توفى مع إسرائيل.
توفوا بفلسطين؟
لا هون. طريق جديد. بال17/7/81 نهار جمعة الساعة 11:30 كنا صايمين. ضربتنا توفت مرتي وابني واختها لمرتي وابنها كنا صايمين ونهار جمعة الساعة 11:30 الظهر. الله يخليك.
Like I said earlier, all three of the soldiers that were killed in Jordan were black. Stay out of the war. Like, if you're watching this and you're black, you know what? Fuck it. If you're anybody, stay out of the fucking war. I even said it on TikTok, which I rarely use. BRG joined DSA because of those bomb-ass volunteer buffets and meetings. I have never seen a volunteer buffet at a meeting.
These are the 3 U.S. soldiers that were killed in the drone attack in Jordan over the weekend. William Jerome Rivers, 46 years old. Specialist Kennedy Leighton Sanders, 24 years old. And Specialist Brianna Alexandria Moffett, 23. To my black people, stay the fuck out of these white people's army, okay? Like, there is nothing for us there. Our fight is at home. What the fuck interest do we have in making war in Jordan or in Yemen? Our friend.
There's a big military base there. That's why. Like, the U.S. has like a fucking shitload of military bases all around the world that they'll send you to. Like my brother, they had him in fucking Kuwait. He went to Poland for a while. He was all over the fucking place. And we've got a shitload of military bases in the United States. Like that. That's what they do. They just bounce you from base to base to base.
Are the Palestinian people. Our friends are the people of Yemen who raise up the banner of our struggle here at home.
But if you're asking me why these individuals joined, I don't know. I can't ask them. They're dead.
Like, these people have mentioned George Floyd. They've mentioned the discrimination that takes place against us every single fucking day in this country, and you want to go fight them. Why? I get it, okay? You want to see the world. You want to travel. You want to get your school and stuff paid for. You want to be able to buy your people a house. I get it, okay? I understand. But you cannot secure safety and security for yourself with other people's blood. What's going to happen is you are not going to secure anything. You're going to secure death for yourself and misery and suffering for your family. Don't die for Joe Biden. Die for your people in the international working class.
I actually just checked. The American military base is less than 100 kilometers away from my home. I didn't even know we had a military base in fucking Serbia. Oh, I've seen this one. I'm going to keep saying this. Like, stay home. Look at this. Beautiful girl. Her family called her Munchkin. Now she's dead. Now she's Deadskin. Deadskin. She made fucking little snowman. Innocent. But she joined the cause of American imperialism and became not innocent. And now she suffers. Well, her family suffers. She's not suffering anymore. She's dead. Here's a Gulf War vet, a black Gulf War vet, saying, as a Marine, I'm telling black folks to stay out of the white man's military. They don't care about you like that. Elmo is just checking in. How is everybody doing? Let's see. How are people responding to Elmo? Chance the Rapper says, honestly, I'm in a really good place right now. Good for you, Chance. Elmo reading the replies and quote retweets. Elmo, I'm gonna be real. I'm at my fucking limit. Elmo, we're all bad. One day from moving. We're all one bad day from moving in with Oscar. It's bleak out here, bro. Me getting ready to trauma dump on Elmo. Elmo, ask a simple question. The entire internet.
I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Tweet of the year so far is Elmo asking people if they're okay and nobody being okay. Elmo's social media manager reading the reply, all the responses like, bitch is just tired, Mo. Elmo girl, I'm having a quarter life crisis right now and I can't get my shit together to finish this last semester. People have quarter life crises now? I think some of y'all just be making this shit. How the fuck do you have a quarter life crisis? Quarter life, that's 25 years old. I love this dude. He is so pure. Michael, the library dude. Coming out of the library, and I've been doing just fine. Thank you for asking. Mental health check right back. How are you doing, really? It's okay to not be okay, Elmo, my friend. Elmo certainly isn't okay after reading all y'all shit. You're having a 20-year-old crisis. You're balding. Welcome to the club, friend. I started going bald when I was 17. I just embraced it and started shaving it all off. Black people are very hot and bald. Representative Ilhan Omar faces calls to resign in disgrace over a speech that she gave in support of Somalia. Okay, Ilhan Omar is from Somalia. I saw a very beautiful speech that she gave yesterday in her native language. And if an Irish American congressman had given a similar speech at an Order of Hibernians event, or an Italian congressman had given a similar speech at a Sons of Italy event, there would be no comment. But because this lady is black, because she is a hijabi, because she covers her hair, people are always constantly othering her, seeing her as foreign, seeing her as somebody. Like, people have called for this American citizen to be deported. Now, like, what does she have to apologize for? Why should she resign? There's nothing she's done that warrants resignation. Like, you have fucking Mary Tyler Greene. You had fucking George Santos. Who was literally kicked out. You had fucking Lauren Boebert. You had Madison Cawthorn. You've had all of these fucking crooks in office. But this lady who's trying to represent her district somewhat well, who represents our people somewhat well, is in trouble. Y'all are trying to get this lady in trouble for no fucking reason. Somebody sent this to Aldana Markey. Hey, third worlders will gladly pay for a ticket for you to permanently settle in Yemen. Honestly, if you sent me a ticket to Yemen, I would kiss you. People using third worlders, though, as an insult, it's never going to cease to be funny. Like, what are we supposed to be? Are we supposed to be first worldists? Third world people like Aldana Markey, people who are from Yemen, people like me who are internal colonies in the United States, of course we're going to have a third world perspective on things. Of course, we're going to center ourselves and analyze things from the point of view of the periphery. This is differentiated from the first world weirdos, who are usually white, who call themselves third worldists and use it as an excuse to be useless nihilists who are waiting for the third world to come do their revolutionary work. I can't imagine being cannon fodder for a country not paying reparations. Neither can I. Somebody says this: Arabs will never be an ally to black Americans. They started in the slave trade. The Houthis have Africans in slave markets. Oh my God. Like, this shit, all of this shit has been debunked. All of this has been debunked. Like, not an iota of what you're saying is true. The bullshit about the Houthis bringing back the slave trade, that's literally from Saudi Arabian state media. Saudi Arabia is literally the country that sawed a journalist to death. I don't think they're very concerned about objective truth. This is my favorite mock-up of this. That's fucking Fudge Rounds dude. I forgot all about him. I wonder what he's doing. I hope he's living his worst life. This gives me the fucking creeps.
I don't want a patient. I don't want a patient who doesn't align with my values, because in general, it's a relationship, and if you don't align, and it's not going to be a good outcome. No matter how good my surgery is, it's just not going to work.
So this guy is a board-certified plastic surgeon. He focuses on aesthetic surgery of the face, nose, breasts, and body. His number is there. It's 212-300-9863. Info at dririsavitsky.com. He has a practice on Park Avenue in New York City. And here he is saying that your outcome is not going to be well. So if you have a Palestinian patient, are you going to violate your Hippocratic Oath and botch your surgery? Porgy says, "Doctor, I will fuck up your surgery if you don't support Israel. The doctor's house, medical license card, all of his valuable belongings when the malpractice lawsuit comes in." Man, you can't do that. Here we have, apparently all of these people that I was getting into it with last night were fucking left comms. Like, honestly, I would be perfectly fine. I have never met a leftist tendency that I would be perfectly fine with, like, having them all taken out and shot. But left comms, I think, like, fit the bill. I just got so much racist shit from them over the past day and a half. Like, fuck them. You know, fuck them. The world would be a lot better if they simply were not allowed to exist. They should not be allowed to exist. I'm sorry. White people picking and choosing black people to pay attention to and ignore based on their ideological tendency. Carrick Maddock said that, okay, but Huey's ideas were mid and Malcolm wasn't a communist. Okay, like 90% of the black people in the United States who have made things better for our people were not communists. Like, who are you as a white person to just like write off black people because they don't adhere to your small ideological box? Fuck you. No, I really mean it. Fuck you and go to hell. We will never be able to coexist with these progressive lunatics. You are destroying every good memory we have. Once the pendulum strings back, I hope you suffer twice as much as we do. This is a sign that this country is fucking cooked. Like, you've got grown-ass men, 40 and 50-year-old men, flipping out over fucking cartoons.
The general, if
IDF shows CNN Hamas tunnel that they claim is underneath Gaza cemetery.
we can actually see the shaft to the tunnel.
But the answer is no.
So?
There's all kinds of machinery which I don't want you to just to take pictures of. The security might force.
But what about if we don't film it? We just look with our eyes.
And then you might fall in. The whole thing can collapse. So you have to.
You might fall in.
Walk to the edge. The edge is not secured. It can collapse. There's machinery, so on. It's not something I'm going to take a risk on. Sorry.
The Israeli military later provided this drone footage, showing the tunnel shaft we entered and another one nearby. CNN geolocated the footage using this satellite.
It's probably a fucking tomb, bro. The following countries have refused to endorse the ongoing Israeli, US, UK, German genocide in Gaza and have declared their intention to maintain funding for the UNRWA. Ireland, Scotland, Norway, and Spain. Florida has taken unilateral administrative action and banned gender marker changes on driver's licenses. Any trans person who has had theirs changed is potentially subject to suspension. Anyone attempting to change it after could be criminally prosecuted for fraud. So this is to county tax collectors from Robert Kynock, Deputy Executive Director of the HSMV. And he's taken out the gender requirements, a rescission. Okay, so he says that the department hereby rescinds the Driver's License Operations Manual Issuance Requirements, IROA Gender Requirements Revised 5/16/22, the directed personnel to issue a new license in the event that a licensee wished to alter the gender marker on his or her license. Furthermore, the term gender does not refer to a person's internal sense of his or her gender role or identification, but has historically and commonly been understood as a synonym for sex, which is determined by innate and immutable biological and genetic characteristics. Yeah. Coming to a shithole state near you. That's what I keep saying. Like, Florida and Georgia, these are the testing grounds for fascism. Lucas Brown Eyes is talking about the Super Bowl. It's going to be Chiefs versus 49ers. I got a coworker from Kansas City. He's pretty fucking amped and stoked right now. I got the 49ers myself. I'm gay. I got to back San Francisco. I'm sorry. One team has fans in red face and headdresses in the crowd during the tomahawk chop. The other is named after miners in the gold rush, which led to massacres and a 70% reduction in the native population in those areas. America! Thank you for your insight, Indigenous comrade. This chick from fucking Moldova, she this is the least racist Eastern European, to be honest. But she's from Moldova, and she thinks that she knows everything about the United States. Listen to this. If I'm not mistaken, United States is famous for give money, benefit, and almost free housing. And it's usually black people who use these benefits and live in the hood by choice. So how does America keep black people in poverty? Some shit you shouldn't even respond to. I just wanted an opportunity to do that accent. No, the Redskins were in Washington, D.C. It was the D.C. Redskins. Aren't Romanian Slavs? I don't fucking know. No, the Chicago has the Blackhawks. But yeah, there was a big deal about that a few years ago. They made DC change the name of their team because it's fucking offensive. Like, do you know where that name Redskins come from? Like, back in the day when there were like literal bounties on indigenous people, white people were going around scalping each other to turn it in, and like you would get like 100 pounds or like 50 acres of land for every Indian scalp, for every indigenous scalp that you turned in. But white people started scalping each other and bringing the scalps in, and to stop that, they said that there had to be red skin on the scalp. Yeah. You think I'm bullshitting you? Look it up. No. But yeah, they were the Washington Redskins, now they're the Washington Commanders. But yeah, people were comparing me to fucking Joe Goebbels yesterday. Why? Because of this fucking post. If I can find the fucking post. What did I say? I said that the left has a major issue with appealing to working class black and brown people because the culture of the left in the West, especially in the United States, is foreign. Y'all sit around and talk about the Bund and the Mensheviks and Zinoviev, and people don't give a shit about any of these folks. They've never impacted colonized people in this country. You should talk about Malcolm and Martin and Huey and other folks that are known to the masses in an organic way and seriously engage with these ideas instead of using their ideas to push your rightist line. And people did not like that very much. Well, I have one supporter. I have one stand. Thank you, Athenian. You're fucking insane calling this shit anti-Semitic. Nothing he said was wrong. It's crazy how people of color on this site always can assume to have the worst intentions. I've seen so many white leftists make these statements. Y'all hate black people. Like, actually, it's nuts. Like, basically, all of these people were confirming what I'm saying. Like, if you mention 3 people, like, I was not even thinking about the Bund, the Mensheviks, and Zinoviev. I didn't even know Zinoviev was Jewish. Okay? But people who center themselves so much and have the worst fucking thought of black people, of course, they're going to say that, oh my God, he's a fucking Nazi. Like, who has time for that? Like, that's why you don't attract normal fucking black people, because before my mom or before my barber or before my coworkers come and get yelled at by some fucking art history grad student, they're just going to go to church, or they're going to go to the mosque, or they're going to go to the pool hall where they can hang around people who look like them and who actually get them. Like, you all want me to read fucking Marx and Hegel and all this shit, but y'all can't read Settlers, and then I make a very true statement, and y'all want to call me an anti-Semite. Like, that's what I was talking about. That's literally what I was talking about. And I've done this so many times. I make a statement, and then all of these little white people come in and confirm exactly the point that I was making. Young Lumumba, love your name. It kind of saddens me how some of my white comrades have been treating the plight of my people lately. Like, I've seen motherfuckers claiming that slavery and colonialism were historically progressive. So is Dessalines murdering every settler in Cap François? Well, Cap Republican? Was that progressive historically? Yes. Why? Because if he had finished the job, there wouldn't be folks around to say stupid shit like this if they were your ancestors down there. I'm sorry, but that's how it is. Maybe I was naive to think we could all unite under a common cause regardless of race or creed. You're not naive. It's just that these white folks have to change. We ain't got to do shit. It's them. Like, y'all don't understand. Like, it's white people who have been the major inhibitors, the major roadblocks to class unity in this country, because every time we want to unite with y'all, we want to get together and do some shit and make these bosses suffer, y'all always get bought out, or when y'all get what y'all want, y'all always leave us out to dry. So if we get fucked every time we fuck with y'all, or 9.5 times out of 10, eventually we're gonna stop wanting to fuck with y'all. That's just human nature. I'm sorry. Surely you can make the same point swapping Marx and Lenin for these specific people. Keep inventing your own demons. No one is talking about the Bundes, unfortunately. Interesting list you've got there, Mr. BRG. But yeah, these people are fucking crazy. Like, I love communism. I love communism. Communism is going to save the world. But like 95% of leftists, of communists in the imperial core are drooling fucking morons. That's objective fact. Like, a black communist, have been compared to both Mussolini and fucking Hitler. Why? Politicians like AOC are far more dangerous than those she claims to oppose. She's calling on people to vote for Biden despite what's happening in Gaza, so either she denies that it's genocide as she refuses to name it here, or is fine with the fact that it's genocide. AOC is like, if I had to do my Yakub thing and like make a politician in a test tube, I would make AOC. Like, she's simultaneously able to talk out of both sides of her mouth. She's able to talk out of both sides of her mouth at the same fucking time, and it always ends up coming out so mealy mouth that everybody just ends up, oh. This is nuts. This an Israeli death squad that has disguised themselves as civilian medical workers. They broke into a hospital, Ibn Sina Hospital in Jenin, the occupied West Bank, where Hamas is not. Look what happened. Look at this. The dude is carrying a fucking wheelchair with one hand and a rifle with the other. So they're going in here, they have silenced weapons, and they're getting ready to assassinate this kid. And what Palestinians in the West Bank do is, because they know that, like, this is common. Like, this is common. They do this all the time. They break into the hospital disguised as civilians, which is a war crime. They break into the fucking hospital, and if you get in their way, they'll just shoot you. And they seek out people that have been taken to the hospital because of the wounds that the Zionists have inflicted on them, and they finish the job. Do you know, like, that's what gang members used to do back in the day? Like, if they failed to kill you, they would literally go into the hospital and murder you in your hospital bed. These are fucking thugs. Yeah, like Mike in Breaking Bad, or Tony Soprano when he tries to smother his mother to death with a pillow in a nursing home. But yeah, like, this even set me aback. I thought there was no war crime that I haven't seen yet, but this is nuts. Many historians suggest that the Chinese and the Japanese do not know that their culture came from West Africa, from the Dogon people who live south side of the Niger Bend near the city of Bandiagara and in Burkina Faso. Okay, here's the deal with this, okay? Because I see this shit a lot. Like the Moors and all these people, okay. Our cultures are dope enough. Our cultures are cool enough without having to fuck up other people's history, okay? Like, you see these people wearing straw hats, or you see them building houses like this, and you decide that every culture that wears a straw hat or builds a house with a funny shaped thatched roof must originate there. No. Human beings did originate in Africa, but every culture developed its own way. Like, this is akin to white people claiming that Great Zimbabwe wasn't built by the Shona people, but claiming that it was built by lost Phoenicians or Romans or some shit. Like, that's racist, okay? We have our very, very, you could spend a lifetime studying African history and still never know everything. Because a lot of our history was hidden. But that's also, like, no reason for us to be fucking pseudo-scientists. There's one lady that actively says that Serbs built the Chinese Great Wall and that there are millions of Serbs underneath it. Are you fucking with me? Are you fucking with me? I think you're fucking with me. Wake up. Check Twitter. New Israeli war crimes. More dead children. Israelis bragging. No media coverage. Government complicity. Zionists playing victim, blaming actual victims. Figureheads supporting them. World upside down. Hate it here. Everything wrong. I wouldn't say that I hate it here, but other than that, yeah, it sums me up. Sums it up. This is what happens when the sirens sound in Tel Aviv. Oh my God, look at this dumbass. He's in the fucking middle of these highways. But look, compare this to Gaza though. Like, this is how settler colonial countries always look. Like, this is where the settlers live, okay? Like, they've got nice highways. The highways look better than in fucking United States. Big buildings still around. All of these people still have apartments and stuff like that that haven't been blown the fuck up. You look at Gaza, there's like, these people are living in fucking tents and they're making food. They're making bread with animal feed. Fuck you. But we're supposed to feel sorry for y'all. This looks like those fucking stupid-ass tornado drills they used to make us do in elementary school. And this is the aftermath of the Zionist atrocities in the hospital. I also take issue with you. What is it with white people fucking getting on my nerves today? I guess because I lit them. I also take issue with Malcolm X as a revolutionary figure to try and build a consciousness within people, because he wasn't a Marxist by any stretch of the imagination, but I digress on that point. This is Blake Ramsey, who I've never heard of, and who I never hope to see again. This is why left comms need to be taken out and shot. I'm sorry. Like, there is no mitigating factor. There is no reason why these people should still be alive. I'm really starting to see why Stalin just had people fucking murked. Honestly. Like, if I had to deal with this shit day after day after day after day after day after day, man, fuck that. Y'all getting put in the pack. I'm sorry.
Somebody's got to have some sense in this world. And a lot of white folk have demonstrated eloquently that they don't have no sense. Somebody's got to have some sense in this world.
I'm just going to play this on a loop whenever I hear something like regarded like that. This literally looks like those old Holocaust films they used to make us watch in school. In this loudspeaker, like he's calling out these people like name by name. Hey, what's the guy's name? Hey, Khaled Mashal, did you send your suit to the dry cleaning today? Followed by women and children only pass. Like, if this was a fucking movie, this is real life. If this was a fucking movie, we'd say it's depressing. We'd say that it's dystopian, but this is what's really happening. And all AOC can do, she's an insult to DSA. All AOC can do is just sit and, oh, well, I understand the young people are upset. And, bro, show some fucking moral courage. Show some fucking moral courage. Muhammad Ali showed it. Shirley Chisholm will not just sit back and watch as this shit happened. Like, you're supposed to be a socialist. One of the most famous socialists in the country. Of course, I'm a Maoist. So me calling her a socialist is like a lion calling an ant a socialist. But you claim to be a socialist, okay? You claim to share some aspect of our ideology. And this shit is happening. This is happening right now with the support of the government that you serve. And you're acting like this is normal. This shit is not normal. This is not good. Honestly, the best thing that the DSA could do is kick her the fuck out. DSA doesn't purge, okay? Like, if you pay dues and you don't do anything egregious, well, I mean, I guess the case could be made that what AOC is doing is, like, egregious. But, like, if you don't piss a whole bunch of people off, you'll be fine. Like, I literally signed a petition to get a Zionist who's in DSA LA's orbit, I guess, kicked out. But like this, I haven't heard any word back from that. So yeah, it's extremely hard to get to purge people. Like, we're not a fucking little Maoist study group that'll just kick you out for saying that Lin Biao might have had a good idea or two at one point in time. No. This is the Salt River Indigenous Reservation on the left. This is Scottsdale, Arizona. But people say that apartheid doesn't exist. I don't know if there's a wall or a road down here, but this is stark. Like, you've got it. This is in the desert, okay? They're stealing water from this Indian reservation here to keep all this shit green and nice and let them take fucking 45-minute long hot ass showers and water their grass and stuff like that. And over here, you got nothing. But people say that America isn't a settler colonial country anymore. The Armed Corsican Independence Organization, FLNC, is making a comeback. France's latest plans for Corsica's autonomy reforms triggered a long unseen response from the separatists. Oh, damn, we got a stendo on his shit. From the separatists wanting to continue fighting. The public appearance of the National Liberation Front of Corsica, FLNC, followed a speech by President Emmanuel Macron, calling for new negotiations with the Corsican authorities, but denying the Mediterranean islands' independence from France. The FLNC took up the arms struggle for a sovereign Corsican nation-state, reviving the former Corsican Republic founded in 1755. 1975 is considered a turning point for today's independence movement when France deployed military helicopters and tanks for counterinsurgency on the island. What the fuck is... This is the flag of Corsica? They've got a black dude's head just sitting there? Well, I think, like, a lot of places in Europe, especially in the Mediterranean, have this. It's supposed to symbolize a Moor. There's a guy that's just random black dude's head just chilling. But it's cool. I like their aesthetic. This is where I think the old Red Guards got their fucking Adidas shit from. I love their aesthetic. Granted, I'm more of a jeans and like Mao jacket guy. I wouldn't wear a fucking Adidas tracksuit. And this guy pulled in Israel, revealed shameless squatter who moved into pensioner's empty home, didn't want Leroy to keep it, has sold house for a whopping £540,000. He pulled in Israel. Like, y'all stole all our shit. Of course we're gonna get fucking reparations. Corruption is flourishing in the Russian army. Court records show that commanders demand bribes for all kinds of services, from keeping troops out of the front line to allowing them to go to the hospital, or even to enable men to avoid punishment for being drunk on duty. Well, no shit, it's fucking Russia. What do you expect?
Ohio lawmakers are taking the, quote, next steps to kickstart their execution chamber with experimental nitrogen.
What? What did she just say? What did you just say, Amy?
Kickstart their execution chamber with experimental nitrogen gas.
Experimental nitrogen gas. So y'all are just trying to figure out, like, y'all are just trying to figure out new ways to kill motherfuckers, new ways to torture people to death, eh?
Just days after Alabama used the same method for the first time in U.S. history, gassing a prisoner to death, the UN has warned this is a form of torture. Ohio's Republican Governor Mike DeWine had said lethal injection was no longer an option for executions after a federal judge ruled it could cause severe pain and needless suffering.
Pretty sure all execution methods besides beheading cause extreme pain and needless suffering.
But Ohio's
Like, you cannot develop a cocktail to inject into somebody that doesn't cause needless pain and suffering. Okay? Like, you're literally torturing people to death. This is some fucking Unit 737 shit.
State Attorney General Dave Yost wrote on X, quote, perhaps nitrogen, widely available and easy to manufacture, can break the impasse. Yost and other officials are holding a news conference today, less than a week after Alabama executed 58-year-old Kenneth Smith with the nitrogen gas asphyxiation last Thursday. This is a media witness to the execution, Ivana Hryynkiw, a journalist with AL.com.
Kenneth Smith made a lengthy final statement. It began with, Tonight, Alabama caused humanity to take a step backward. Kenneth Smith also made a I love you sign in sign language with one of his hands that was facing the room where his family was witnessing, along with media witnesses.
Imagine your family being invited to see you fucking die, and they torture you to death, and that's the last memory of your family that you have.
He appeared conscious for several minutes into the execution. For about 2 minutes following that, Kenneth Smith shook and writhed for about 2 minutes on a gurney. That was followed by...
You can take out people with carbon monoxide like running the car in a garage. Not even a need for nitrogen. Yeah, let's just take them to the warden's garage and fasten them up in the garage and chain them up and then turn the fucking car on. I'll save some money.
Several minutes of deep breaths on the gurney. Following that, his breath slowed until it was no longer perceptible for media witnesses.
Why is my chat talking about ways to kill people? God's grief, y'all are morbid.
The governor's office pronounced the time of death at 8:25. And again, the curtains closed to that room at 8:15 p.m.
The day after Alabama executed Smith, Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall encouraged other states to use nitrogen hypoxia.
To my colleagues across the country, many of which were watching last night, Alabama has done it, and now so can you. And we stand ready to assist you in implementing this method in your states.
Alabama officials claim the nitrogen gas execution is humane and effective. But for more, we're joined by Kenneth Eugene Smith's spiritual advisor, Reverend Jeff Hood, who says it was the most horrible thing I've ever seen. Welcome to Democracy Now!, Jeff. So you were there watching Smith die, watching him gassed to death. Describe what you saw. And we realize this is not easy. You are just coming off of this execution.
Good morning, Amy. Thank you so much. Like I said, it was the most horrific thing I've ever seen. I mean, the gas mask.
What the fuck is that painting? Is that supposed to be like Trump or somebody?
Fits from the top of the head to under the chin. It's looks like a firefighter's mask. Once the execution began, it was very clear that Kenny was suffering immensely. He begins to pump back and forth. It really looked like a fish out of water, a fish on a dock. As he pumps back and forth, the gurney was shaking. Very clear he was resisting or pushing against the.
I just finished Settlers. What should I read now? Check out False Nationalism, False Internationalism. It's from the same tradition.
The restraints.
What is it about bald men and beards? Because if we shave both our heads and our beards, then we look like eggs. He'd look like a white egg. I would look like a brown egg.
Every time he pushed forward, his face would thrust into the mask.
Is there a death penalty on a federal level or only state? The feds have gone back and forth over it. Like sometimes they suspend executions, but technically there's still the death penalty at the federal level. They killed the guy who did the 95 bombing in Oklahoma City. Timothy McVeigh, well, one of the guys, I think the other one is still alive in prison. But most southern states, matter of fact, all southern states and most of the Midwest has executions.
The mask was tied to the gurney by two, short, small pieces of material. So every time he came forward, his face would slam into the front of the mask. And there was spit, mucus, all sorts of fluids coming out of his mouth, and it was hitting the front of the mask. And so what that looked like was, mucus, and these fluids were streaming down the mask. He was very clear.
So I looked this up just for you. The federal death penalty applies in all 50 states and U.S. territories, but is used relatively rarely. There are 40 prisoners on federal death row, most of which are in prison in Terre Haute, Indiana. 16 federal executions have been carried out in the modern era, all by lethal injection, with 13 occurring in a 6-month period between July 2020 and January 2021. The federal death penalty was held unconstitutional regarding the Supreme Court's opinion of Foreman v. Georgia in 1972. Unlike the quick restoration of the death penalty in most states, the federal death penalty was not reinstated until 1988, and then only for a very narrow class of offenses. The Federal Death Penalty Act of 1994 greatly expanded the number of eligible offenses to around 60. The use of the federal death penalty in jurisdictions that have themselves opted not to have capital punishment, such as Washington, D.C., Puerto Rico, and many states, have raised particular concerns about federal overreach into state matters. So they haven't even broken down here by district. You have the Eastern District of Texas, the Western District of Missouri. You have the Eastern District of Virginia. That's where most of the Fed death penalty cases have come from. You have some districts that have never, ever had anybody executed. So it's a bit of background. But yeah, fucking horrible.
Clearly, in unbelievable duress, his face was turning purple and red. His eyeballs looked like they were.
The federal death penalty is global. We just use drones.
About to pop out. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible, and it was shocking that this is taking place in a nation that prides itself on being one of the human rights leaders of the world.
And in what fucking bizarre world are we one of the great human rights people? Oh my God.
Reverend Hood, I wanted to ask you, this is the 5th execution you've seen now in 13 months. Why do you witness these? And what about this argument that officials are constantly claiming that there's a humane way to execute people?
I mean, for me...
there is firing squad or beheading.
There's 2 reasons. One is to provide witness, like I'm doing right now, to the horror that these executions are. 2 is...
So, my brother, one question. Why shouldn't people join the U.S. military? I'm just confused, as I am not from America. Because the United States is an imperialist power. It's a settler colonial power. It serves no good purpose in the world. Because they murder people around the world. Because they commit all sorts of war crimes and get away with it. Because they back evil states like Israel in Saudi Arabia and all these other places that commit crimes against their own people and against others, because they are a block on the world getting any better. Like, America profits from the world being a shitty place. So why would you join the fighting arm of an organization like that? Why would you join the fighting arm of an organization like that? Why would you be cannon fodder for a country that doesn't care about you? It denies us healthcare. It denies us free education. I'm watching this thing about a fucking execution. They tortured a guy to death with nitrogen gas. Why would you fight for a country like that? To help rich people get richer, to help keep people like Trump and Biden and these huge corporations rich by stealing other people's resources and making the rest of the world hate us. So you should ask, like, why shouldn't people join the U.S. military? You should ask, why should people join the U.S. military? That's the question you should be asking. Like, why should you join the military?
Of course, to provide spiritual comfort to the guys that I work with. I believe that the message of Jesus is very clear, that we are to love the...
Of course, it was a fairly easy question. It gave me an opportunity to hop up on my soapbox. I appreciate you asking it.
Least of these, those whose society has shunned, the marginalized and the oppressed. With regards to the humaneness of this, anyone who would say that is either a lunatic or a liar. This idea that what we saw last week was textbook, or that it was
experimental executions. Oh my God, this is dark.
San Francisco has an empty office problem, and it starts right here in the core of the city's downtown.
To quote a famous old tweet, I'd rather serve crack than serve this country.
27.1 million square feet of empty office space in the city.
Early in the pandemic, a lot of office sector workers started working from home. And here we are 3 years later, many of them are still working from home, at least some of the time. All of that has led to a...
Yeah, because working class people, the janitors and the nurses and the people that actually like make your food and stuff like that, like these office workers are generally privileged, okay? If you can afford to work from home for 2 fucking years, you're privileged. You're part of the petty bourgeoisie. You're part of the bourgeoisie. You're not part of the proletariat. The proletariat had to work during the fucking pandemic. My solution to all the empty offices in U.S. cities, turn them into apartments and give them a way to unhouse people or people who need a place to stay.
Large reduction in the demand for office.
They made a 33-minute video. I solved it in fucking 5 seconds.
We see
give me money.
A lot of companies downsizing. We see a lot of companies not renewing their leases at all and consolidating.
Nobody's going to the office. We need more housing supply. Why not just turn all the office buildings into apartments? Not quite as simple as it sounds.
Honestly, if there was any city I would rather live in the United States, I would live in San Francisco. It is not just because I'm gay. It's because, like, it's a beautiful city. It's got a lot of history. It's extremely diverse. And it's got a lot of revolutionary history. Like, I would love to live in San Francisco. Maybe I'll have the opportunity one day, as soon as all these empty offices are turned into residential spots.
Not every office building makes for a great conversion. Not every conversion should be done. Not every building should be converted.
Many American offices are sitting empty.
New numbers showing 94 million square feet of empty office space in Manhattan. That is an all-time record.
Well, if empty buildings are a problem, a few pilots could solve that even faster. Y'all are fucking crazy.
Huge investors like Blackstone and Brookfield are staring down defaults in their office portfolios. Meanwhile, finding an affordable apartment can feel impossible, which has a lot of mayors talking.
We have a great opportunity to change.
I'm always tripping. The mayor of Washington, D.C., her last name is fucking Bowser.
The mix of uses in the downtown.
Make it easier to convert.
Boo, fuck you. He's going to end up in jail very soon.
Unused office space to housing.
So the thing about office to apartment conversions is it sounds like a great idea. Nobody's going to the office. We need more housing supply. Why not just turn all the office buildings into apartments?
We need bourgeois control and we need cracker control.
Not quite as simple as it sounds.
Not every office building makes for a great conversion. Not every conversion should be done. Not every building should be converted.
In some cities, the laws are making conversions difficult,
It was about 3.
Then change the fucking laws. You change it for everything else. If it was something that would benefit working class people, y'all would fucking institute new laws. But because it hurts the bourgeoisie, you got to keep the laws in place.
% of the New York stock that we saw as being convertible. And that took into account differential of price between offices and apartments, which has not actually diverged as much as people may think.
But in places that have a lot of older office buildings, there's a lot of conversion activity happening.
Some big cities are looking at incentives for developers who convert buildings into housing.
Nobody does things in the real estate world out of the goodness of their heart. We have to
Holy shit, an honest bourgeois.
Find ways to either require or incentivize these things to happen.
Require.
What's stopping cities from converting more offices into apartments? And what challenges do developers face when taking on these massive endeavors?
Oh my God. This is why we need socialism. Like, none of this would be a question under socialism. None of this would be a question under socialism. Okay, you've got an elected building. We'll give you state funds and state employees to fix this building up, and then we put workers' families in them. That's how it should work. MAGA asked, is there anything Trump can do to lose your vote?
Anything that Donald Trump could do to lose your support?
Nothing's going to change the support from Russiagate to Hunter Biden to all these indictments.
Yeah, they interviewed this dumbass last time.
It's a witch hunt.
He must be a favorite of theirs.
So nobody's going to change.
Anything he could do to lose your vote?
Oh my God, look at this guy's eyes. You know, I strongly believe like that your eyes are the windows to your soul bullshit. Like this guy, if Trump ordered him to be like Royce Red Arm and like stick his fucking arm into somebody's gut to pull out the fucking guts, like this guy would do it. This guy has no capacity for independent thought whatsoever.
Not at this time, no, I don't think so.
Is there anything he could do to lose your support?
No.
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
Anything that the former president could do to lose your support?
Right now, absolutely nothing. I believe in the man. I think I've always believed in his character. I mean, he came out and ran for office. He's a billionaire. He has no interest financially in this. He didn't ingratiate himself by becoming the president. He took a step down in life for the benefit of the service of the rest of the people. And remember,
no, he didn't. No, he didn't. He had this fucking camarilla, this inner circle of advisors who basically gorged themselves at the public trough. Like the Trump administration was probably the second most corrupt administration in American history after the Harding administration.
remember, his initial vote was the common man. He said, look, I'm going to do this for you. And he did.
Is there anything President Trump could do to lose your support?
Today, no. I want him to have a chance to go back and finish. And I want him to have a chance to fuck the country up even more than he already has. I would like to see why the establishment has gone so hard after him. Why, if it is legitimate, why is it so hard to put him out of the running and to put him, I know they're trying to take him off of ballots.
If Trump wins a second term, do you think he's going to start slinging the N-word? No.
Government for the people, by the people. I think D.C. is corrupt. I don't
Yeah, and Trump was the most corrupt person in D.C.
like what I see when I look at Washington. So I'm really for someone going in there. And I think the word swamp and deep state, establishment, uniparty.
What does deep state mean to you?
That's the question. It seems to me, when I see the word uniparty, I think there are people in our government who really do not see a Republican idea, a Democrat idea, a platform here, a platform there.
When you get so close to the point, but then you fumble it. Like, yes, we are in a fucking uniparty society, but the same dude whose ass you're kissing, like, that's the class that dominates this one party, bro. Like, he approaches the point, like, up to here, but then she just fumbles it. with conspiracy theory bullshit.
I think it's very hard when a bunch of lawmakers get together and control a country and forget about the people that are supposed to go out to DC and speak for us. And they stay forever. We don't have term limits. So to me, a deep state is just an entrenched body of elite people who the rumor is.
Justice for BRG, what happened?
Or if you want to do that paperwork, I suppose you could.
Why do we need justice for me, Hyatt? Has something happened to me? Is my door about to be kicked down or something?
Find out how much all of those people are worth by the time they leave, but.
Oh, you're talking about that stupid shit from last night? Oh yeah, I remember.
It seems to me there are no common men.
Is there anything, Donald?
It's all right. I like it when they attack me on Twitter because, see, these people understand, like, I'm a rhetorical god, okay? Like, I will use words to fuck you up so bad, and people like that, and it boosts my engagement. I encourage them to attack me on Twitter over bullshit.
I'm Mr. Beat.
I'm like, why would you do this to me? I don't want to look at this motherfucker. Fuck you.
Could do that would cost.
No more video recommendations. You almost got banned for that one. I don't want to listen to that motherfucker. Rah, rah. No, yeah.
Tim, your vote?
No, because we just need a.
I don't like his haircut. I don't like his voice. I don't like his ideas. Fuck him.
We need that. Because yeah.
Indicted on 91 counts. What if he's convicted? He's an innocent man right now. What if he's convicted?
Have you heard about the Georgia thing? The lady, the district attorney that brought all those charges has a boyfriend she put on the payroll. So that whole thing's a mess.
Because she put someone on the payroll?
Her boyfriend. And then they've been going on lavish trips around the country.
But it was a grand jury that handed down the indictment.
She appointed all the grand jury.
Because these types of Americans are fucking brain dead. That's why.
Too. They know all this. It's in the records. The people of Georgia that investigated, they've investigated the whole thing. No, and plus...
None of these people know what the fuck they're talking about, but they are violently confident in them being right. That's how you get stupid motherfuckers to storm the Capitol.
Women.
Jesse Lee Peterson says he does not trust female pilots.
Most are fucking, not that bright.
Yeah.
So, like, the other day, I'm on this flight, and I see a broad is the pilot. And I'm fucking losing my mind. I want to get off the plane.
A woman pilot?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that happened to me coming here.
What'd you think?
Did you hear that already?
No.
So how do you know about that?
I'm telling you what happened to me.
It just happens to be.
It happened
And so what did you do?
I mean, I looked for other flights,
You looked for other flights just because you saw a fucking lady flying the plane? What is wrong with you? Like, don't you know, like in the Soviet Union, you had the night witches that literally served in the Soviet Air Force? Like, women are literally qualified to do everything that dudes can do. And women usually do it a shit ton better than men do.
Yeah, I didn't.
Like an African black.
Yeah.
Because you're like really popping.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. And she didn't even
Someone needs to knock this guy's fucking teeth
look
out.
like an American black. She looked like an African black.
Yeah.
Because she's like really black.
Yeah.
Like shiny black. And she had that look.
Mm-hmm.
And so I asked the flight
Bruh, what, you just come here and you just let yourself be used as a fucking foil for these colonizers?
At dawn,
Man, fuck this dude. Ooh, the Battle of Pryor Creek. I love indigenous warfare.
a
Crow versus the Sioux, Cheyenne, and Arapaho.
man was searching for his horses when he came up a hill to look over upon a river of men and horses. The Sioux, Cheyenne, and Arapaho warriors were about to charge down the hill toward the Crows. The man raced to the Crow camp. He warned everybody, and immediately 10 best warriors were sent toward the enemy to hold off the initial charge just long enough to set up battle lines and to put up a fortress of teepee poles and covers.
Man, that's some bravery. You're part of 10 dudes and you're going up against that fucking huge line? A cavalry? That takes some fortitude. It takes some balls.
The Battle of Pryor Creek just started. In those years, the Sioux and the Crow were enemies. The Sioux often raided Crow territory, counting coups. Intertribal warfare on the plains was a way through which young men climbed the social status as warriors, showing how brave, skilled, and tactical they were. By the mid-1800s, the westward expansion of the United States impacted the Sioux and Cheyenne in today's states of North and South Dakota. The pressure drove these people westward in the way of Crow territory, which they considered settling on. With time passing, these intrusions began to be more frequent and more violent. Before we begin, I would like to ask you to consider subscribing to. In the early named child in the mouth had also been an active participant in the conflict and never got tired of telling and retelling the battle story. This is great because we have both perspectives of the battle. In the early summer of 1859, a Crow war party killed a fine young Dakota Sioux warrior. He had already counted a number of battle coups, which entitled him to wear an eagle feather war bonnet. His mother was overwhelmed with grief and decided to mourn until her son's death was avenged. Almost every evening she led her son's horse through camp with the war bonnet tied to the saddle. As she passed the teepees, the woman would challenge the warriors. She would say, "Is there a man among the mighty Dakotas who will take this horse and go fight the Crow?" She would do this for a whole year. Then one day, a man named Brave Wolf, who was very much in love with a girl and wanted to make her his woman, asked his sisters and aunts to arrange a wedding. The women were silent. An outspoken aunt finally said they did not like the girl and did not want her as a sister-in-law or daughter-in-law. Brave Wolf was deeply hurt and decided to kill himself. He decided to join a warrior society who took the suicidal oath to die fighting for their people. By doing this, Brave Wolf would die with glory. Next time the mourning woman approached, Brave Wolf took the reins of the war horse. At this moment, the woman said, "At last, a brave one has taken my son's horse." Within moments, a big crowd gathered around to see what was going on. Brave Wolf was the instant hero that day. A council was called and a chief spoke. He said, "This is not just one man's decision. By his action today, we, the Dakota, are committed in what could be a very important and serious undertaking. I ask if the Great Spirit has meant it to be this way, and I say let us take one whole year to make plans against the Raven people." They are not that all the bands came together to of men and horses. The warriors were about to mount and charge down the hill toward the Crows.
Yeah, it was. It just shows how like cultural values are different. And how collectivist these tribes were.
The man raced for the Crow camp. He warned everybody and immediately...
Yeah, this guy has no fucking energy. That's why I skipped like half the fucking... That's why I skipped like half the fucking video. This guy has no fucking energy. I'm going to have to take a nap after this because of him.
Warriors were sent toward the enemy to hold off the initial charge. Just long enough to see Crow men charged right into the Sioux, Cheyenne, and Arapaho, firing into the ranks and killing a number of Sioux. As they turned around and were returning, thousands of warriors followed them down the hills in pursuit in a thundering charge. Suddenly, the valley exploded with war whoops, gunfire, and the thunder of horses. The Crows had set up their first line of defense on an open, flat area. Crow warriors, who had guns and bows, took a similar position nearby. As the Sioux and allies crossed the creek and charged, one of the Crow chiefs gave a loud command, and the Crows opened fire with deadly results. Quickly, the warriors regrouped and made another charge, again suffering heavy casualties. The repeated charges by the Sioux and allies suddenly stopped. The Crows waited, standing their ground. Then, a Crow man decided to take advantage of the situation to try a bluff. He rode toward the Sioux, Cheyenne, and Arapaho saying in sign language 2 bands of crows are on their way to join them. In truth, no help was coming. This was quickly followed by strange happenings. As the man was returning to his ranks, the Sioux scouts on the hill pointed to their warriors. Below that, a large war party was coming up the creek from the north. What happened was that a large herd of elk had become excited by the noises of battle and had started running around. Their sharp hooves stirred a big cloud of dust. Soon, the Sioux scouts moving fast toward the battlefield to break the Crow defensive lines before help arrived. Once again, the Crow lines held and inflicted heavy casualties. After that,
so that's interesting as fuck. Like, they could have easily washed these people, and the Crow knew it, so they used the bluff, and they stampeded the elk up here, and the Crow knew that these elk were coming because this was their territory and they knew how the animals behave. That is clever. That's how you beat a force that's dozens of times your size.
This is Bob. Bob doesn't
let's see what Cav has for us.
use his platform to spread misinformation.
In a safe and measured manner at all times.
So I've made several videos on IDF.
This guy always gets me. Like, he looks like a modern day millennial Guy Fawkes.
Propaganda.
Like that fucking Guy Fawkes mask. This is who he looks like to me for some reason.
And I guess this video is the conclusion. It's just a quick look at IDF TikTok going into 2024 and just looking at some kind of information around it, because I've never really delved into like what this is even about, like the IDF deliberately running these TikTok accounts to promote the most cringe-inducing propaganda.
He used thirst traps too. Like, they have like these models with shitloads of makeup on and colored contact lenses and stuff like that. People understand, like, models do not look like that in day-to-day life. Like, they're experts. The people who take pictures of them are experts at like using camera angles and stuff like that. Like, these people do not look like this in real life. That's what a lot of these incels don't get. They're trying to smash their fucking faces in and do all this stupid shit, and then they end up looking fucking crazy. Like, those people do not look like that in real life. Okay? Like, it's a job. They have scores of people whose job is to make them look appealing for their photo shoots. Then they take all that shit off and they look like just like any other regular person on the street. Just maybe a little more good looking.
And if
he looks like younger Vosh. What is wrong with you? Don't compare Cav to Vosh.
you haven't watched any of the other videos, I'd strongly recommend it. A lot of these things are obviously gross, but some of them are just very bizarre. A lot of them are quite old as well, like some of them go back to like 2021. But today I want to focus on what...
Is this what an updated version of the Cockney accent sounds like? Somebody said that he sounds like he's from East London. I'm not all that good with British accents. Like, I can differentiate between a Welsh, a received pronunciation, and a Scottish accent, but like...
has been coming out.
I don't know, like the most famous American accents. I mean, the most famous accents that you all have over there are Cockney and the fucking Queen's English, received pronunciation. I don't know, he just sounds like he's from fucking London to me. East London, rather.
Of his page since the beginning of 2024. And what you're going to see is a lot of the same stuff you've been seeing, but I want to kind of pivot away from what I've been focusing on, and that really is the IDF focusing on both women and LGBT people.
Cav doesn't have a posh accent. He sounds like a working class Londoner.
Putting pretty visibly queer people in their propaganda, talking about like equal rights, and having women front and center talking about how great it is for women in the IDF itself.
Can a guy do guard? Come on. Why not? Boy power.
What the fuck?
Sounds ridiculous, right? We're not female soldiers. We're IDF soldiers defending our country.
And yes, you are still going to be seeing female spokespeople who speak English, and it is very much targeted to an...
What's up, Nate?
English audience. And just for this conclusion, I wanted to look at it one last time, and then we can kind of close the book on IDF, TikTok, and propaganda, I'd say. I made that video earlier this week on IDF influencers, which was just the most insane
IDF influencers
stuff, like filming podcasts and everything. I'd say if I was going to recommend one video out of the several I've made, I think the one on the YouTube channel is probably the most revealing, because it's as real Jews, and a country that hates his people as well. It's a very bizarre figure to choose for this propaganda.
I'm Khalil Cheever. I'm a trainer living in Dimona, and
Bruh, this is a black American. What the fuck is he doing in that? Oh, you know what? Actually, there's actually a few black Hebrew Israelites that live in Dimona. I guarantee you he's descended from those people. Wait a minute. Yeah, so there's African, like black American Hebrew Israelites that live in this town in the middle of the desert. And they all have like American names. Like I was like, what the fuck is this black American dude doing over there? But like they have names like Estella Rivers and yeah, so they were able to somehow get over to Israel and live there. And yeah, they're treated like shit because Israel is a racist country. Dimona, a city at the edge of the nation of Israel's Negev desert, has been her home for 24 years. Her 8 children were born here and knew no other country. Now she and 130 other undocumented members of the African Hebrew Israelites of Jerusalem face deportation. The Hebrew Israelites, as the spiritual community's members are commonly known, first made their way to Israel from the United States in the 1960s. While members do not consider themselves Jewish, they claim an ancestral connection to Israel. Around 3,000 Hebrew Israelites live in remote, hard-scrabble towns in southern Israel. The Village of Peace, a cluster of low-slung buildings surrounded by vegetable patches and immaculate gardens in Dimona, is the community's epicenter. About 500 members hold Israeli citizenship, and most of the rest have permanent residency. But so that's where he comes from.
I serve in the Israel Defense Forces.
So I recommend everyone going to check out the YouTube video ones. So before we go any further, I just wanted to give out a little shout out to a communist band which reached out to me about their new song, and I thought it was relevant for the video. So UK, they're Ghassan Kanafani and the legendary resistance poet Mahmoud Darwish. Automatic, Interfar and Twitching Tongues, a homeland YouTuber, an online star, someone who lives and breathes social media with influence on those platforms, who's articulate and some ad agency campaign, but an announcement.
So they're actually recruiting influencers or people who want to be influencers into the IDF. Like they're actually putting out advertisements to recruit these dumbasses so that they can join and they can take thirst traps and do all this other shit.
Posted on the official website of none other than the Israel Defense Forces. This notice boasts a revolutionary step, the establishment of a committee of online influencers that will select a new team of army presenters.
This is deranged.
People accepted into the program will serve in the office of the IDF spokesman, realizing their potential and implement. Funny headline before we watch some TikTok.
You can win medals for being an influencer.
Soldier awarded certificate for promoting unit.
This is why they're getting their fucking asses kicked. Y'all are too busy playing around on TikTok. It does. Oh my god.
IDF on TikTok. Sergeant Yao Derry, a military police officer, received a unique certificate of appreciation on Tuesday for promoting Israel and the IDF to over 1.7 million followers on TikTok. Derry, who is nearing her release from the IDF, uploaded many videos throughout her military service, some of them depicting her day-to-day training, while others showed...
It'd be funny as fuck if, like, they were recording a TikTok or a YouTube video and, like, a fucking rocket comes and just blows them all to bits. Hey, we're out here, we're having fun. Hey, you're never gonna control that. Boom.
Her answering followers' questions, usually those based on anti-Israel sentiment. Derry was awarded a certificate by military police in what was the first of its kind in the IDF. I think that you did a great service to the military police corps, and this is an opportunity to thank you for this. So if there's nothing that symbolizes the most cowardly army in the entire world, then this award, I don't know what does. You get awards and recognition for posting propaganda for the army on your own personal social media of your own free will. Great award that. You're so brave to post it in this bubble, being backed by one of the most powerful militaries in the region, at least, maybe the entire world. But
it's definitely the entire world. That is crazy. Imagine getting stream sniped IRL.
What does MAGA mean to you then? So Make America Great Again, what does that mean to you?
The America I grew up with, we want it back. We want people to stop censoring.
It's never coming back. It's never coming back. You will live under the joint dictatorship of the oppressed nations, and you're going to like it or you're going to die.
Yes. We want them to stay away from our Second Amendment. We want freedom of religion. So if you're a conservative, if you're a Christian, if you're white, you're a male, doesn't matter what color you are. We want people to be respected for who they are.
Nobody, bruh, people are disrespecting you because you disrespect other people and you want to limit other people's abilities to take advantage of what little shit this country offers. You all are impinging on other people's rights. That's why people disrespect you. You want to go live in a fucking Mormon colony? That's your right. You want to go live in a fucking cult compound in the Ozarks? That's your right. Nobody is going to bother you. But the issue is that you all are bothering other people. That's the rub.
We don't need to have stones of infinity stones because you're black, you're gay, you're trans. We just want everybody to be treated equal. And they're
But you all have never treated anybody equal. That's the thing. You all want the right to oppress.
Trying to say that we're the party of the racist party when
because you are.
They're the ones actually wanting Jim Crow rules back.
In what way?
Well, colleges. They want to have black and white graduations. They want to separate it.
No, bruh. Oh my God. These people are dumb. I'm sorry. Honestly, I see why people want to go live in fucking... They want to go live in a fucking village in Botswana somewhere. Because, like, these people, they just can't. They just can't. They don't get it. These people do not have they don't have the intelligence to govern somebody like me. I'm sorry. Send Minnesota Young Democratic Socialists of America to conference. $3,500 are needed. I do not have $3,500. Settlers is cringe. Read Lenin instead. No elaboration. I have the Indigenous comrade here who says that if you want to make a settler Marxist potentially freak out, just show them this book. They'll make a comment, it'll get retweeted and quote retweeted, sending shockwaves through settler Marxism. The bottom line is, white people are not ready to give up white privilege. That is very true. Hey guys, what's happening in Palestine is like if the Avengers lost. This might shock a lot of people, but I looked it up and apparently any country can just call itself the land of the free, even if their police are oppressive and they imprison more people than anyone else on earth. Indeed. We are dying slowly. Palestinians are eating grass and drinking polluted water as famine looms across Gaza. And what is the Western left doing about it? Nothing. Nothing. Harassing black people. harassing black people, calling us anti-Semites, trying to drive Ilhan Omar out of Congress for speaking in her native language to her people, and doing a bunch of other stupid things. Let's close with this one. When he was later asked about the decline of interest among St. Louis blacks in the Communist Party, Walker recognized the effect of Cold War anti-communism, but emphasized the limitations of the party itself and its relation to people in the black neighborhoods of St. Louis in the 30s and 40s. The party, he said, had been too focused on getting people to become communists and missed the opportunity to engage people who might have shared many of the party's positions. Damn, I feel bad for the Palestinians. Oh, wow. What do you want, a cookie? You're supposed to feel bad. You're supposed to do something about it, too. Specifically, church people like Carrie Smith. Walker was pressed by the interviewer. You mean you didn't bring them along? No, he said. We couldn't bring them along. We should have left them where they were, not by ignoring them, he clarified, but by engaging them where they lived, in their neighborhoods, in the particularity of their own lives and beliefs. That is how you organize black people. Not by insulting our religion, not by implying that we need to accept the theory of the great white father, Marx, Engels, and all of these other people. I don't feel bad for these Israeli settlers. Well, I need a live chat. Y'all should start, hurling insults at each other or something. But anyways, I will see you all tomorrow. Don't take any wooden nickels. Don't take any